Hey, what's up, folks? It's Jesse with Keeping It Real Finance, channel that always has your back and tells it like it is. Well, you know it's a Friday when I've got your weekly Jasmy update, and we've got a lot to cover in this one. So we're going to be going through the whole feed as we always do. We're going to be taking a look at TradingView, and then I'm going to be wrapping up this video with some final thoughts specifically to talk about the concept of the float. So this is going to be really important for anybody who is investing into Jasmy. I think this is what makes all the difference in the world. And so we're going to be highlighting that in the final thoughts. So stick around for that. Like I said, I got a lot to unpack in this week's update. Tons of updates going on all around in the community. So a lot of good info was shared this past week. And so hopefully you enjoy. So if you like today's video, make sure to hit the like button. If this is your first time to the channel, make sure to subscribe. And if you click the bell, you'll be made aware whenever I post time-sensitive content just like this. And now, let's get it going. Hey, what's up, everybody? So coming back at you today with your Jasmy weekly update. Got a lot to go over in this video. I'm going to hit all the highlights here in the news as well as take a look at the chart. After this, we'll be wrapping up in the final thoughts all about the float. So stick around for that. So to start off here, we're going with this tweet from Blake, Sayan1K. If you're not following Sayan1K, he is part of our research group along with WC3068. That is Brian Russell. Give him a follow, part of our research group also. This tweet here shows all the various Jasmy patents. So something that sets Jasmy apart from all of the competition in particular are the patents, the personal data locker, secure knowledge communicator, smart guardian, all that stuff is what sets them apart. Here are the actual references, screenshots to those specific patents. So big time tweet there. Shout out to those two guys. Moving on up. So right here is a post from Zippy, and he is also part of our research group. And Blake actually kind of expands on this in a later post, so I'm going to maybe show that a little bit further on. But what this is talking about right here is regarding the Hokkaido stadium that's being built, the big-time baseball stadium. And I want to show you Blake's post because there's some actual images of the stadium in it, which are pretty cool. So scrolling on up here, here's another post from Brian. Specifically, it says, exactly. Once you're done researching Society 5.0, check out Japan's Moonshot 2050 project. Everything is about to become unrecognizable. So this is pretty awesome. This is just kind of their technological advancements that they want to make as a society for the country of Japan. They are pretty awesome here. You know, like it says, the Moonshot Research Development Program sets ambitious goals to attract people and promotes challenging R&D projects with the aim of resolving difficult societal issues while bringing together the wisdom of researchers from all over the world. So that's pretty awesome. I'm not really going to go into this post too much here, but, you know, one of these things is kind of funny down here. It says, freedom from space limitations and time limitations, freedom from brain limitations. That's probably what we all need a little bit, right? So that's kind of funny. Freedom from body limitations, pretty crazy. And then we got a comment down below from Auntie Jasmy, who also had a really good post this week, which I'll highlight here in a minute. So if you're not following Auntie Jasmy, Auntie Margaret 1, give Auntie Jasmy a follow. So moving on up here, here is a screenshot here that I created for our Jasmy Spaces call. This is kind of all of us who are on here normally talking about it. Unfortunately, the last call I was not able to get on. I had company in town and wasn't able to get on that call. I know also that CoinFrontation has been doing a call as well, and I think that was yesterday that he did his call. I was not able to get on that one either because of some other commitments I've got here in my personal life with picking up my son from school. So I couldn't get on that call yesterday. But if he has another one of those at a different time, I may try and call in. Here's a little joke here for you. So you know I like throwing the jokes on this channel. So I noted KIR FI sighting on Reddit. And this Uncle John here, every time he posts, all it says is win Lambo, followed by hello, this is Pam saying soon Lambo, and then followed by me saying Pam. So, in fairness, I ripped that off. I saw somebody else do that in another post, and I thought it was hilarious. So, nobody had taken that angle yet in this particular thread, so I went ahead and added the Pam comment. So, moving on up. Here's a post from Zippy. So, a lot of likes on this one, too. Once dilution is over, it's anyone's game. We could say Jasmy $1 in bull run. But what happens if Jasmy is already at $1 before the bull run? Let that sink in. Great point, Zippy. So, everything that I've always kind of looked at is kind of assuming that we're basically starting where we are now and kind of building up through the next bull run. But what if we're a lot higher than that? Who knows, right? Totally different ball game. And some of this also fits into that discussion we're going to have about the float in the final comments. So we'll talk more about that. DipMehtaVerse, I'm not going to cover him to the end because those numbers are always changing. I did make a note here. Jasmy with the breakout called it, and I did call it. That was I think 2 weeks ago where I said it was looking to break out. And I said, we'll see how far it goes with the dilution as well as whatever Bitcoin's influence is. And as of today, Bitcoin is kind of knocking everything down a little bit. So I'll show you that in a minute. Moving on up here. So here's one from Dip. So one of Jasmy's investors, Collinstar Capital, is a partner of Dcoin Exchange. So photo 1 is Dcoin website showing Collinstar as a partner. Collinstar logo zoomed in photo 2. And then tweet from Hara mentioning Collinstar supporting Jasmy through investment. So again, these are those kind of under the surface connections that are sort of hard to follow unless somebody connects the dots. And that's exactly what DipMehtaVerse did right there. All right. We got a tweet here, Captain Jasmy. So wouldn't a Bitcoin rally be nice right now? Taking Jasmy further into the green. Well, it kind of looked like it was going to happen, and then everything kind of ate it. So that happens sometimes with Bitcoin. You're hoping it holds that trend line. By all accounts, it looked like it could, and then it's kind of held back. Now, my personal theory on that, and I've seen this numerous times, is it seems like in the whale market manipulation that happens in the crypto market, like it's purposefully done. And the reason I think it's being pulled back this time is because right around the corner outside of Jasmy is the quote, the merge for Ethereum, right? So it's Ethereum going from proof of work to proof of stake. The implications of that, Vitalik has said that it could go and run up to 100,000 transactions per second. So this is like, I've talked about it with the car analogy. If you took a car from 2016, we gutted it, and we just had a frame, and then we put in a Tesla engine, or a Tesla motor, excuse me, and now it's all hooked up and ready to go. That's kind of like the equivalent of what they're doing here. So, if that indeed pans out, and if indeed it goes big, huge implications because there's so many projects that are ERC20 tokens, Jasmy included. Okay. So I still think they would have their centrality partnership, but there's some huge implications there nonetheless. So anyways, I think that this current dip in the market with Bitcoin in particular is to present a good buying opportunity before the merge. All right. Moving on up here. So here's a video I retweeted from CoinFrontation. So Jasmy Coin seems to lift off today. So here are my 7 reasons why I started to invest into Jasmy. So if you're not following CoinFrontation, he's also part of our group. Really knowledgeable guy. Great content. And like I said, he's started doing a call once a week. He is based in Europe. So for anybody in Europe or Asia, that may be a good call for you if you're unable to make the call that we typically do on late Sunday afternoon here in the US. All right. So this was interesting. Here was a whale trade alert. So what is this? 9,732,000 Jasmy has been purchased for $117,000. Now, we actually kind of looked into this transaction because I was kind of curious who it was. And by all accounts, it appears to be retail on that one. So interesting. So here's a post from Manila Will, and this image in particular was taken from the Jasmy League site. And I don't think this image is posted anymore, but that's where this is from. Okay. Now, what this shows you is the various periods of growth and where they think the coins will be. So this is going to be extremely important in the final thoughts here. Okay. So what this chart really is kind of showing, so they say data utilization business, they think will account for 35 billion coins. Okay. They say the market is the rest. And in the rest being 15 billion, you would then have to take away 2.4 billion that's saved for the team. Okay. So you're looking at roughly 12.6 billion in this green area. That's what we're going to talk about in the final thoughts. Moving on up, here's that post that I mentioned earlier where Blake kind of expanded on what Zippy had posted. And he says, Jasmy is both a stadium and LED sponsor for the upcoming $530 million Hokkaido Ballpark. So he says, remember Big Boss, aka Nippon Ham Fighters manager, received his Bitpoint JP ambassadorship in Jasmy Coin, which was true. Stadium projected to be functional March of 2023. So this is interesting. So let me kind of, I think I want to go into this a little bit, just kind of show you some of these images. So this is Big Boss right here. So he's definitely baller status. He's up there with Paris Hilton, right? So very, very popular guy. There he is with the Nippon Ham Fighters logo behind him. And you have to remember also, or at least be aware, that in Japan, baseball is a very big sport over there in Japan. So right here it says LED sponsor, and there's Jasmy. So this is that image that Zippy had posted earlier in particular. And then when we go forward, I really haven't shared too much of this, but this is the actual ballpark, and it looks awesome. I mean, this is a really cool looking ballpark. And if you remember from my other videos, if you follow my weekly updates, that essentially this ties into the smart cities, specifically with some goals from Kunitake Ando. All right. So that was pretty awesome overall. Now, I want to go back into the feed here and scroll on up. We're not covering dip yet, so let me keep on going. More videos from CoinFrontation. He's been doing a lot of content lately, so if you're not following him, he'd be a good one for some regular content on Jasmy. This was a great post, I thought, from JasmyUS, so shout out to you. Blessed to have made friends from across the world through crypto. Jasmy 2030 Yacht Party. I couldn't agree more. I am really, really looking forward to that moment. That will happen. So really excited about that. Here's another one, JasmyUS. So we got Snoop Dogg here, right? So the Jasmy rip after dilution ends, and when the next bull run begins, will melt faces. All the fudders won't know where to put their tears. Awesome. I thought that was pretty cool. Spot on. Here was my post here referencing Auntie Jasmy. So this was a good one also. So under the importance of data is arguably the most valuable resource. Jasmy is the vehicle that will make it possible. So it was a pretty lengthy post here, 1 of 8 from Auntie Jasmy. Highly recommend checking it out, though. Very, very good information on the value of data. All right. Moving on up, here's the Dcoin listing that DipMehtaVerse referred to and the official reference from Hara. So that was our Hara sighting for the week. Here's a retweet from CoinFrontation's call. So if you ever want to follow those, you can listen to it, or you can play the recording if you set the reminder if you're on Twitter. Here's the Jasmy management page referencing Dcoin. Okay. This was interesting. So this is the Jasmy League talking about a promotion here for some seats with Sagan Tosu. So that's going on. The interesting thing with Jasmy League and with Jasmy Foundation, we're still not 100% clear where that relationship stands right now. It seems like it was heavily involved early on, less involved now, but still somewhat involved. So I don't know. We still got to figure that one out a little more. But regardless, it looks like they're giving away seats to the game. So that's cool. Moving on up. So yeah, here was the Bitcoin chart. So we were trading within this channel and then it dumped below, right? So it went out of that. The interesting thing with Bitcoin, though, is that if you look at the volume right here, these little volume bars, it ultimately dumped on like really low volume. And so I think that's basically a sign of manipulation. All right. Moving on up. This was funny too. So here's here's somebody saying when dreams come true. This is pretty funny. So this cat can just sort of pick up on that there's a shrimp here. And if you watch him, I mean, look at this. I think this is how all of us are feeling about Jasmy right now. It's like you're sort of dreaming about it, and it might happen. It might happen. You kind of get that taste in your mouth, and then all of a sudden, hey, there it is. Really funny. All right, moving on up. So this one here, DipMehtaVerse. So this was from today. So 200 million added to circulating supply. And if you're not following DipMehtaVerse, he has been adding more details into his posts when he posts like this. And he's capturing a lot of really good info here. So 200 million added to the circulating supply. So the range right now is between 38.8 and 39.4. So roughly, let's say on average, 78 to 79% of the supply is out there. Market cap, based on it, 356 to 361 million, and hodlers is 32,698. Okay. Here's an image I posted earlier. It's basically a Pac-Man eating Jasmy. And the reason I put that up there was because when the market dips like this, it didn't dip because of Jasmy. It dipped because of Bitcoin. So really good opportunity here with Jasmy. If you are accumulating, doing a DCA like many of us are, great opportunity right now. Okay. Now, moving forward from there, so I wanted to share this because this will tie into the final thoughts. I want to share this real quick. And I also want to share the chart. But first, this. So this particular article came out, I want to say a couple months ago. Let's see here, 5/24/2022. Yeah, so it looks like May. So this article here, news article, what is Jasmy's strategy for democratization of data that cuts into the centralization of personal info, right? So the main thing I want to highlight in this entire article is this is from 2 months ago. They emphasize their KPIs right here. So the key performance indicators, okay? So they say they were also presented at 2 million users, 107 million personal data locker users, and 10 billion yen in circulation of Dcoin. How are they going to accomplish that, right? Like, how are they going to do it? They are confident in this. And I've highlighted that before in numerous videos where if you look at Sato in particular, he is so confident. Like you can just see it on his face. Like he knows it's going to happen. And so they emphasized it again, these KPIs. And for those of us in our group, for quite a while, we've looked at these KPIs and gone, wow, those are lofty. How are they going to pull this off? How are they going to make that happen? I highlighted a post from JasmyUS, I think last week or the week before, where he talked about how exactly they could do it with the various Asian countries in particular and easily accomplish the 107 million PDL users, right? So we're going to talk about all of this kind of in the final thoughts today with the float in particular and kind of how all that comes together. But by all accounts, it seems like this is definitely possible. And something else I would add also is that one of their partners in particular, Transcosmos, we were looking at them recently. And I want to say that around the world, they've got over 75,000 employees. Okay. That's a lot, right? And that's not even counting contractors if they're bringing people in on a contractor level. They are basically a large worldwide call center. Okay. So that is one of Jasmy's partners from very early on in this project. And one of the questions I've always had is like a partner like that. How does a startup exactly get a partner like that? How is that possible? Like if I started up, let's say Jasmy Coin, Jasmy number 2 tomorrow, do you think Transcosmos would work with me? No. I'll go ahead and answer that. The answer is probably a pretty firm no. They would not be working with me. Even if I was based in Japan, they would not work with me, right? So why do they work with Jasmy? And I think it was DipMehtaVerse said, in some of our private chats, like Well, people are probably taking Ando's phone call. You got a point. You got a really good point there. So there may be a lot more to that story. But my point in all of this is that they've already got a partner with 75,000 employees. That's pretty crazy. And I want to say, their revenue per year, I think I had seen it somewhere. It was like three billion, I think. I mean, it's just crazy. Ton of revenue. Huge company is the whole point I'm getting at. All right. So that in particular, the fact that they're re-emphasizing these KPIs right here is really important. All right. Now, moving forward here. So this was the where is it? Here we go. So this was taken from the JASMY League in particular. All of this information here referring to the price data value ratio, et cetera, et cetera. The real thing that I wanted to show in here, again, was this chart right here. And this was the chart that Manila Will was referencing also, the same bar chart, right? So this is what really kind of plays into the price predictions for Jasmy Coin in particular. And this is what we're going to talk about in the final thoughts. Okay. So lastly, for the sake of the news update this week, you can see here where we have dipped down. We're now at 0.0093, but we are still kind of riding this trend line right here. So everything's still kind of going according to as it looks like it will. The bottom since pretty much the beginning has been 0.008. It's never dropped below that. Currently, the RSI, stock RSI here is dropping, and it looks like, that's all because of Bitcoin in particular. I have a big arrow here, and I kind of want to highlight this so people understand this. Because I'm not sure the community as a whole understands this. So this is the market cipher B, okay? Now, the red stuff here in the market cipher, this is money outflow, okay? So as this line lessens and gets closer here to the middle, to the baseline, that means there is money inflow. Money is flowing into Jasmy, okay? So if you look back, it's basically had outflow for over 6 months. It just turned green for the first time just the other day. Okay, so a couple days ago, it went green. It actually went positive. So what I mean by this is specifically this. What this shows you is that even though they are still providing liquidity and still providing coins out there and diluting, what this means is that all of it is getting bought up. That's what this means, okay? So the trend is that it's getting bought up right now, and we're pretty close to baseline right now. The only reason we have not gone, well over that is, again, because Bitcoin just, dropped below the trend line. So that's why this is significant in particular, is that it tells you that the people who are hodling Jasmy keep adding more, okay? Myself included, all right? So anyhow, that's all I wanted to show in this particular image. I'm not going to go into really any more detail than that. But I want to wrap everything up now with the final thoughts and tell you exactly why I'm so bullish on Jasmy. All right, so now it's the time you've all been waiting for, the final thoughts. So let's talk about the float, okay? So grand total with Jasmy, there should be 50 billion tokens. Of those 50 billion, 2.4 billion are saved for the team when they meet KPIs, essentially, as incentives, okay? So that leaves us with, what, 47.6 billion. So as I showed that chart earlier that was posted by Manila Will, that's also taken from the Jasmy League site in particular, at the end of this, in the period 4 of growth, they are expecting 35 billion coins to be used by businesses who need to purchase the coin in order to get access to the user data, okay? So they think that 35 billion coins will be allocated there. Okay, so those are not in supply. Technically, they are out there in the supply, but they are locked up with the businesses. They are locked. They are not floating around on the exchanges, okay? That's really important. So when you take away the 35 billion, we're left with 15 billion, and of that 15 billion, 2.4 billion tokens are then held for the team when they reach those KPIs, okay? So then we're left with 12.6 billion. That's it. So they think that the value of Jasmy coin is going to go up exponentially as time goes on, because they are projecting that only 12.6 billion, give or take that 2.4 if they hit the KPIs, but 12.6 billion is what's going to be the circulating supply, okay? So that's where they think there may be huge potential here. Now, one thing that I would say that I've noticed, especially watching this when it's wanted to move, is that there's so much interest in Jasmy that this coin, when they're done providing the liquidity to all these different exchanges, when the coin is fully out there, this is absolutely going to rip, okay? So it will happen on that front. Now, the very interesting thing is this concept of the float, right? Because you look at circulating supply and you say, oh, well, you know, the circulating supply is going to be 50 billion coins. Well, technically, but that's not how this works, because Jasmy coin in particular is a utility coin. So the businesses who want to operate in this space have to use it, okay? And so, you know, what's really interesting with Jasmy, and we've talked about this a couple times, that they're almost like more of a stock company, more of like a hybrid stock company. They are not your standard, typical cryptocurrency company. But Hara has said in tweets that they have a lot of experience with the stock market, and that's how they've set up their tokenomics. So this is all set specifically to happen this way. So that's where they think they could actually meet or exceed the KPIs that they have. The KPIs indicate a price of $17.87, okay? So all of us in the community for quite a while have gone, these KPIs are impossible. How would they ever do this? How could they actually accomplish these KPIs? Why even put them out there if they're not attainable, right? They think they are attainable, and they think they can beat them, okay? And the reason why is because of the float. So when you look at all those coins being locked up, if you think that it's only going to be 12.6 billion, that's why they think the value is going to go up, up, up. 12.6 billion, especially when they can prove the value of data, all right? So we've been able to show you, you know, over our Jasmy Spaces calls, over my various videos, all of us contributors and collaborators here in the community, we've been able to show you that, you know, the value of data is just going to, it's like the oil for the next 100 years plus, okay? Is going to be the value of data. The value of data, there's so much value in it. And it's just not being tapped in a smart way right now. But when you throw in IoT, you throw in what sets Jasmy apart from the competition, which is the personal data locker, all the patents, secure knowledge communicators, smart guardian, the Sony the Sony mindset, right, is kind of like what's in this thing. That is what sets it apart. And so down the road, when you think about Jasmy in particular, and you think about this being a 5-year investment, a 10-year investment, they think they can hit those KPIs of $17.87. They think they can hit that by 2026, okay? So that's not too long from now. So, you know, let's say 4 years. They think they can do that. So that is the most important part of this video, the float and the idea of the float. So if you understand the float, then that means that the circulating supply is actually far different than what the numbers on CoinMarketCap would tell you. And that's where you can see the true value in Jasmy. All right? So that's it for this week's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to hit the like button. Don't forget that I'm also on Twitter at KIR Finance, where you can find me tweeting and retweeting. Check me out there. I've also got the QR code right over here. You can click that. It'll take you to my website. I've got the financial blog. I got the merch shop. I got affiliate links. I got the Patreon links. You can go to Patreon, help support the channel if you'd like. All of that stuff's there. You know, check it out. Let me know if you got any questions, comments, whatever. That's all out there. And then lastly, for a friendly reminder, this is Jesse with Keeping It Real Finance, channel that always has your back, tells it like it is, and I will see you on the next one. Later.